Hey Hebrew fans, this is Todd. So today I decided to do a video on the Faceless one. And what spawned this video is people had questions about the faced one. So I'll talk about him later on, but let's go ahead and talk really quick about some of the customs I've done for the Faceless one. So this is one of the first ones. Actually, it's not the first one. It's actually the second one I did. So on this one here, the head is from Kevin Coos, I believe is what his name is. You can see the cool head there. This is the one it came with originally. This is more like a skull, but this looks more like the cartoon and comic, and it's kind of a cool head. And the guy did a really good job designing it. So I ended up getting one of those heads. Now in the cartoon, he wears like a skirt type material, so I went and got a rubber glove and then figured out the equation for the circle circumference for the top and the bottom, and then just slid it on underneath the skirt, and that gave him that cool longer skirt type thing. So that's one of them that I customized. Now, as I complained before, these guys are really hard to stand up because of the weight of their upper cape. The upper cape is just huge, so it does add a lot of weight. It's pretty girthy, and so their legs kind of buckle sometimes under that weight. I think I'm going to go back through and strengthen the knees and the ankles on all these figures so they're not stuck having that buckling of the cape weight on their knees and joints. So this right here was actually the first one that I did, and he's been gone through a couple different versions. Is I wanted to make a glowing head because the Faceless one in the cartoon, his head actually glows in the dark. So let me go ahead and fire this up. Let's get his head glowing. And I used a white glow in the dark paint, and it took a ton of layers to get that on there to glow. And if I remember right, it was like 10 or 15 layers of tons and tons of this paint because it does not go on very good. And you can see it has a white glow, which is what I was going for. I also did spray paint the ram's stone, and you can see it's just a green spray paint I stuck on it. But the white glow does not last very long for brightness, but when it's pitch dark, it actually stays for a while. So if you're just sitting at night, all of a sudden you see this weird glowing kind of head of the Faceless one. All right, let's go and turn the lights back on. Now I'm trying to do this all in one take because normally I do these videos live, but for some reason YouTube's not doing the live video feed right anymore. So then we got the cool Stan Lee figure, and there's the Stan Lee head, and I think the Faceless one's head just fits perfectly with this figure. And so that's why I actually use that head to be the character that Stan Lee is supposed to be, that maker guy, creator is supposed to be. I forget what his whole storyline is now. I should pull up one of my box figures and do one just on him. Now, people have used this to use the armor to make some of the Centurions from the movie, which is kind of cool, but I just like to keep them like this. I've been tempted to make my own Stan Lee custom by getting another Stan Lee head and painting it Caucasian and just having Stan Lee as Stan Lee, not as some superior being. So now let's move on to what you guys are all here for, and that is this custom right here. Now this guy's name is Nikolas Powers, and that's what the Faceless one's name was before. And what I've done, if I can get this over his head's kind of big. Oh, I can't get it over his head. Anyway, I've taken and used a balloon around his waist and just pulled the balloon up over the top and around to get the purple stomach. And his body is actually Count Marzo's body. And that's why he has the open hand like that, the same way to hold the ramstone. And then the head, which is pretty important, is from the History of DC Universe series number 4, and it's Captain Atom. And as you can see in this picture from the comic, that this head does work pretty well for that. So there you go. Now what I've also done with this is if you watch the cartoon, he has like this cloud that he floats on. It kind of reminds me of Goku and his Nimbus cloud, you know, and so I went and made this my own little Nimbus cloud type thing for him to sit on. And basically I just took a bunch of cotton balls and glue and stuck them together, found a small piece of plastic that I put in the middle, and then shaped it to be the same size as his little skirt thing here. And then he could stand there on the cloud, and then it's like he's floating on the cloud. And, you know, I could have sworn I've already made this video before, but I couldn't find it in my list of videos in my history. So if you've seen this from me already once, I apologize. You get to see it again. But I just thought I'd remake it if I couldn't find it to share. So for the people that have asked that question, what head did I use? Again, it was the History of DC Universe, Series 4, Captain Atom. I'll put a link in the description so you guys can find them easily. So if you want to purchase your own, you can. And then this figure is made out of 2 figures, and the 2 figures are obviously the Faceless one and Count Marzo. So it takes those 2 figures to make, actually 3, counting Captain Atom. And there you go. Now, what I like to do also when I make Nikolas Powers. Now, here's an example of one that I did in the box that I sold on eBay. It was really cool. It was a box that could be opened up, so you can take the figure out or put it back in the box. I also like to use some of these Skeletor staffs too, so they're not always lit up. And that works great because this way then he can just have the staff and not always have the red glow on the top. And vice versa. Sometimes I'll give Skeletor some of these ones so that then he can have one that lights up. So that is Nikolas Powers and how I made him. All right, you guys. Thanks for watching. I know it's a short, sweet video, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye now, and bye, you guys, from Nikolas Powers. Anyway, thanks for watching, you guys. See you next video. Please like, share, subscribe, and I usually don't say this, but I need the extra views, so please ring the bell. Bye now.